Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. I am Michelle Kane. My company is Voice Matters, and I am here as ever with my wonderful co-host Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. The ties that bind all of us wacky and fabulous and smart PR pros together. How you doing, Karen?
Doing great. I'm so happy for our viewers who may be catching the podcast in audio format on Monday, whatever day that's going to be on Monday. We are also, this is our second week of actually streaming live on our recording day, which is Wednesday. So today is St. Patrick's Day, and we're recording for you all, but we're doing it as a live stream. And it's our second week, and we're still a little nervous about it. Still a little geeked out that we're actually doing it, but we are women who are not afraid of a new challenge.
That's right. We're just going for it. And, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And I can't get Daft Punk out of my mind because we thought, today's St. Patrick's Day, even though this is going to post on the 22nd. But, getting lucky in business. Okay. See, now you have the earworm too. Right?
Their minds go anywhere other than community business.
Keep it in the Daft Punk range. And yes, and we're not going to play it because we don't have that budget. So...
We do not.
No. But how often have we heard that phrase, or maybe it's even coming out of our own mouths of, you make your own luck, which to a degree is kind of true. And funnily enough, right, we always get these great little nuggets right before we go on air. We were just talking about Jennifer Garner and our girl crush on her, and how this week she's been all over the place promoting her new film. I think it's called Yes Day, but that she herself is so positive and can do. And, how much of just carrying yourself that way and thinking in that direction can help you, place yourself where these opportunities do happen, where your business does grow.
Well, there's a famous quote, and I'm sorry that I'm blanking out on who said it at the moment. So please, I am not able to properly attribute this quote. I'm not owning these as my words, but it says that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I, as much as I love that saying, I'm kicking myself for in the moment not remembering who said it, because that's so completely true. So I think that we can't walk around in a little happy bubble thinking, well, people have always referred to me. They'll keep referring to me, and business will just come in and things will just happen. And a lot of times they often do, but you have to be ready for those opportunities. So what about preparing your business? What about doing the work and, putting those seeds in the ground to plant yourself for new business? And that just, that could be, people sometimes overcomplicate that. I think that really means just showing up for yourself, reminding people what you do and looking for opportunities to contribute value. And not always looking for that opportunity to sell somebody, which is where people kind of get caught up because they feel like the sales process is icky. It's really about developing those relationships. That's something that you can do every single solitary day. Every person that you meet, every interaction is an opportunity to either ignite a relationship or cultivate an existing relationship. And if you're showing up on a consistent basis, reminding people of the ways that you help people, that's where referrals come. They don't just fall out of the sky into your lap.
Right. It's so true. I mean, it comes back to a couple of the major tenets that we always talk about. As PR pros, I think many of us are wired to be helpful. And that just stems from that. I know a lot of the ways, especially when I was building my business, I relied heavily on volunteering. Now, of course, over time that gets more and more unsustainable, but at least it helps you, at least in my local sphere, that's not true. The internet's there, you can volunteer on committees anywhere, but it just helps set the table that, this is a person who doesn't mind being collaborative. This is a person who values the importance of relationship, and this is a person who's not entirely transactional. So I think that's one of the ways that you can make, help create your own luck. And this just in via comment via our live YouTube feed. Chip Griffin, thank you. That quote is attributed to the Roman philosopher Seneca.
Yeah.
So it goes way back if you couldn't. It's okay if you couldn't remember.
Thank you, Chip.
Thanks, Chip.
That felt like having our own little Alex Trebek here.
We've heard from the judges. It is acceptable.
You the man, Chip Griffin.
And well, hey, right there. Thanks for being helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
definitely is that. He definitely lives that value out, which is why everybody, and he's top of mind because he does a great job. So here's one of our audience participants, great friend and colleague, who's such a great example of this, the very thing that we're talking about. He's somebody that's always prepared. He's always pushing the envelope forward and trying new things and willing to pivot. And, you see him consistently. He's so consistent about showing up in the spaces that he inhabits. And so he's always top of mind. So when somebody's like, oh, I'm really thinking about scaling and wanting my business to grow, Chip comes to mind because he's done a great job of branding himself.
And right there, what you said is so important too, is consistency and just being visible, because how often, I know I am so guilty of this. You're just head down, doing the work, trying to meet the hours you need for the month and blah, blah, blah. And then you think, I really need to be promoting myself. Yeah. And you realize it doesn't take long. And, to throw a post up on LinkedIn and which, we kind of challenged ourselves to do. But we challenged each other to post once a business day. I know I've
challenged each other, and I have to admit that I fell off the wagon a few days, and I forgot that I fell off the wagon, and then when I remembered, I posted like one evening. I'm like, cried.
I know, yeah. I do remember at like 6:30, and I'm thinking, is anyone looking at LinkedIn right now? No, but I said I'd do it. Oh, all right. But you know what? Hey, we're here to tell you it's okay. Don't feel hard on yourself if you don't meet these personal challenges. The fact that you have them in the first place is what matters. It really is. And I think it's that beautiful combination of preparation, showing up, and serendipity. There's kind of an excitement when you do put yourself out there, because you think, well, who am I going to meet? I mean, I point back to this wonderful serendipitous moment of, I don't know, Karen, do you know Jeff Livingston?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this is going back to about 2008. He was speaking at, I think it might have been Social Media Club Philly. It was something in Philly that I had to get up at the godforsaken hour of like 5 a.m. because it was a 7 a.m. talk. And I thought, what is wrong with me? But whatever the topic was, I thought, I really want to hear what he has to say. So I attended this thing. Talk was great. My employer at the time was trying to find someone to create an app for us. And it was kind of early days of apps. Well, who did I bump into? Was someone who worked for a major app producer, and they didn't look at me like I had 10 heads when I explained the concepts. And I thought, right away, that's why I got up at 5 a.m. today. I didn't know it, but that's why. So you know what? Don't be afraid to follow that.
Great guy to have met serendipitously or otherwise. He's awesome.
Yeah. I suggest you all look him up.
We all know Jeff, so he's pretty well known in lots of circles.
Yeah. So I
16 years ago on this day, I actually started my business. And so I think that this is quite a lucky day.
Happy birthday to your business. I'm not going to sing on live YouTube.
Thank you. It went by super fast, but it's another, I think that there's another saying that, God takes care of babies and fools. And when I first started, I think I was pretty foolish. I didn't know what I didn't know. And oh my God, did I not know a lot. But I tried, and I just, I found people that were kind of doing things and figured it out and learned a lot along the way. And I just kept at it, and I kept putting myself out there in the way that I knew how to do it. Initially, I had moved to a new town. I had moved to Michigan, knew nothing. And the internet was still very much in its infancy. And so
Yeah.
I just drove around to places that I didn't know, literally knocking on doors like,
Yeah.
hi. I mean, I used to be in sales, so it didn't feel weird because that's what I knew. So I started where I knew
Yeah.
until I quickly learned about this thing. Like, I knew the internet, but I didn't know, like, e-commerce wasn't even a thing at the
No,
time.
it didn't.
Oh, and I learned how to build a website with this website builder. It was horrible and awful.
Oh, weren't
I'm
they
like,
bad back then?
"Ooh," and I
Oof.
got a client. But it's because I tried, because
Right.
I was willing to say, okay, this driving around thing town and trying to meet people who I feel like speak a totally different language and they're looking at me. Am I too happy? Do I smile too much? Do I sound like I'm not from here? This is for the birds. I got to figure out something different. And so, yeah, I mean, the thing, as Michelle said, luck definitely can happen, but you have to position yourself for these good things to happen. And
Yeah.
positioning means that you're doing the work. And it's, we talk a lot on the show about business development. And the reason that we do is because it is the most important thing that you do in your business. And
Yeah.
I know for some you're like, no, it's, whatever your area of expertise, it's the crisis communications, it's the, media. No, it's not. The most important thing you do in your business is developing the business, because
Yeah.
without it, you ain't got a business.
Exactly. You have no crises to manage if you have no clients.
But a logo and a website.
And bills. Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible at, do what I say, not what I do. Um, it's like, yeah, do a Facebook ad. Am I doing a Facebook ad? Shut up. All those little things, maybe take a day, take a couple of hours and, do an audit of your own business. Treat yourself like a client and, say, well, what am I doing? What are my goals? How do I want to grow? Because we're all different. Maybe you're happy with the amount of business you have. Maybe you want to get more, but yeah, that pipeline should always be primed in some way. And, it's another thing that I'm not incredibly comfortable with, but don't be afraid to ask, and I don't mean outright saying, saying, do you need me to do work for you? But, amongst your colleagues, clearly I'm sure you have a professional network of friends and just say, hey, you know what? In case you know of anyone, I have some room on my plate right now. And, if you know anyone who's looking for my services, I'd love a referral or have a conversation or, even, and it was funny, I was thinking of this the other day and I can't believe I was thinking of this because I am all too often like, get the work done, I'll leave the house, what?
Yeah.
I'm starting to miss coffee meetups. The pandemic is long when I'm starting to miss,
Yeah.
let's meet for coffee. And I think that sounds nice, but that 45 minutes will turn into 90 minutes and then my whole day is shot.
Yeah.
But I need to stop that.
Yeah,
And,
I don't miss those.
yeah, maybe I just want a coffee at the moment.
Yeah. Go have a coffee by yourself and get over it, Michelle. Kidding. I mean, I really like that. I am, I don't miss it.
It's got to be the cabin fever finally kicking in.
It's probably the cabin fever, because now you're like wanting to do things that it'll only take a few of them, and then you'll be like, so Zoom?
I'll probably get halfway through one and go, oh,
Yeah.
wait, you know what? I gotta go.
Yeah,
Is
for
that the
sure.
time?
For sure. But I mean, again,
That's just me. That's just us.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable doing, do it consistently.
Yeah.
It's funny. Someone was sharing with me that a business owner, and this has happened several times, had hired a PR agency, and things didn't work in 2 months, and so they declared the PR didn't work. And I've met a lot of businesses over the years that have, done a little bit of marketing, they did an ad and they didn't get immediate results. And so they declared ads don't work.
Right.
It's such a huge mistake because, it's not like it's not a vending machine. You don't
Right.
put the coin in and then you get your snack. You have to work at it and you have to work at it consistently. And
Yeah.
here's the thing that people miss. There's not always a direct line that can be drawn. Even in those
That's right.
mediums that people believe are so super scientific,
Correct.
sometimes the effort that you put in one area pays off in unexpected ways.
Yep.
So, yeah, somebody may have seen a marketing flyer or they may have heard an advertisement on TV like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, but then they get an email, totally different thing. And then they remember, like, this is not the first time that they've heard about you. So they may tie, when that email hits them, maybe now it's at the point where they actually are ready to take action on their need, but it
Right.
doesn't negate all of those other touch points that you provided for them. And so, I do think it's really important that as communicators that we do exactly what we counsel clients to do, and that's to be consistent, not to
Mhm.
give up on a process because it's not working out in a week or 2 weeks. You really have to make it work and you have to fine tune. And so whatever you're comfortable doing in terms of business development, just do that, but just do it consistently. People are
Right.
always like, well, what am I missing? Well, if you're somebody that likes coffee meetings, do coffee meetings. I know people who schedule them once a week because that's what they like
Mhm.
to do. They're comfortable there, but they're
Mhm.
doing them. So their network is growing and that's the way that they cultivate business. Or, maybe you're somebody who loves to do YouTube videos. Do it. Just be
Right.
consistent about it. You love LinkedIn? Great. Use it. Optimize
Mhm.
it. Work it, but do it consistently. It really doesn't matter. Like, there's no magic to this whole process. I mean, we could get super geeky and technical about all of the great things that you can do with
Right.
marketing automation and inbound marketing. But guess what? Even if you don't do any of those things, maybe you don't even have a website, it doesn't mean that you can't get business. You absolutely can by using what you know, what's available to you, and maximizing it, and
Mhm.
getting good at it, perfect it.
Yeah.
If whatever it is, perfect it. Look at your process, dig in after a coffee meeting, make some notes for yourself. Was I too aggressive? Was
Mm.
I was I too subtle? Did this person walk away with a clear understanding of how I could help them? And
Right.
more importantly, did I have some takeaways? Are there ways that I could help them even outside of directly doing business? Because I hate networking that's self-serving.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to deliver value in some way. And sometimes that means I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, hey, you need that? I know somebody. Let me make an introduction. Listen for that. Listen is more than you talk. Um,
Mhm.
they say two ears, one mouth means that we're supposed to listen more than we actually speak. That's really good advice to follow.
Absolutely. And I think too, as communicators, we're problem solvers. So I think that comes naturally. I often find myself when I'm, speaking with someone new and they express, need, and I'm like, oh, who do I know that can help? That
Yeah.
that I can connect you with who might be a good fit. And, especially with the consistency thing, because, think of it backwards. Just because you have this great service that you provide and your customers, your current customers are happy, they love what you do, but you want to grow into more. But just because you're ready to serve a client doesn't mean that they're ready to need you yet. I come across that with a lot of my B2C customers. Like, well, we're putting everything out there. Why aren't people coming? I'm like, well, maybe they're not ready for your service yet. They're not in the market for it yet. However, keep putting yourself out there so that when they are, you're going to be the first person they think of. You're going to be the first call, the first form submitted, blah, blah, blah. And, and I get it. It can, when when no one's coming in the door or not as many people are coming in the door, it can freak you out. And, you're spending this money and nothing's happening. And, not to say that there aren't always times to revisit strategies and tactics, but you've got to at least give it the time so that you know for sure whether or not something was a great idea or a bust. And that goes for our business development too.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, we have so enjoyed having you guys join us on this St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
We hope that your day is like the fourth leaf, that rare day of perfection. How's that for a poetic ending?
That's so Irish and poetic, Karen.
I know, and I'm not even Irish.
Everybody is today.
Shout out to my peeps though at Digital Irish. I love you guys so much. Such a great group of innovators, creators from all over the world doing fantastic things. So happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. And no Blarney here, says Chip Griffin, and to all of my Irish and Irish for Today people. Don't drink too much green beer.
No, 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 absolutely not. Go get some Kilcannon, potato up, have a beverage or two.
I love
So
it.
this will be airing on the 22nd. We hope you celebrated safely and are not still suffering the consequences of your joy in celebrating Irishness on the 17th. But until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.